Hey everyone, Matt Johns here at American Beer Equipment. Wanted to talk to you today about our cold brew coffee system, specifically our larger systems. We do cold brew coffee houses anywhere from 5 barrels or 155 gallons up to 60 barrels, roughly 1,600 gallons. What you see behind me here is a 50 barrel system. So we'll go through some of the components. I'll give you a quick overview of the cold brew process on our systems, and then we'll get a little more in depth on the things that make our cold brew coffee solutions so easy to work with. So let's hop up on the platform here and talk about the first step, which is introducing your coffee into your coffee house. So the first step of the cold brew process would be introducing your coffee into your coffee house. There's a couple of different ways you can do that on our systems. I'll briefly talk about it, then we'll go in depth more on the components. But the first way would be to introduce coffee into your coffee hydrator. So if you have a grinder and an auger system and can grind up and drop into the hydrator, that would be the most automated way. Or if you simply have bags of coffee and want to dump coffee into your coffee house, you can open up your manway here and introduce coffee by simply dumping the bags into your system. So let's go down on the floor and show you how to get your coffee out of the coffee house. Once it's set in this vessel for a certain amount of time, you're going to want to open up your drain, and your coffee will flow out of the vessel and fill up what we call this balance tank, and this will just fill up with your coffee. And once it hits the top, you'll turn your pump on, and it will pump from your balance tank through the system and into our secondary filter. Now I'll talk about this secondary filter more in depth in a bit, but this would be the second line of defense to get any small coffee particles out of your end product and into your packaging line. And then once you've filtered it out and moved it to a holding tank, the next step would be to just open this guy up, turn on your plow system, and let our system dispose of your spent grounds automatically. So let's take a little more in-depth look at the coffee introduction piece to cold brewing. As I mentioned before, if you have a grinder and an auger system, this is a coffee hydrator, so you'll grind wherever your grinder is in your warehouse and then auger it up and introduce it into the coffee hydrator where your coffee will dump down in here. And then water is being introduced into this coffee hydrator. So as your coffee is falling down into the vessel, it's also being hit with water and fully hydrated. So you've got a fully hydrated product going down into the vessel. You also can measure the amount of water you're introducing into your system with that flow meter, as well as there's a temperature gauge up there to regulate what the temperature of water you're putting in is. So that helps with accurate recipes and repeatability on your end product. And just ease of use. So the second way would be the more manual way would be to simply dump coffee into this manway. So you'll open this up, you'll dump your bags of coffee down into your vessel, and the vessel is equipped with a rake system. So as you're dumping your coffee into the vessel, you'll turn on your rakes and you can agitate your product that way as it's being introduced into your coffee house. So let's take a little closer look at some of the controls that we offer on our larger systems. This first screen you see up here is going to be your flow meter digital readout. So as you're introducing water into your coffee house, you'll be able to see how much water you're putting in here, or on the flow meter itself, you can visually look over there and see how much water you're putting in. These next two screens are your pump and mixer. So as I'm pumping coffee out of my system, this is a VFD. I can throttle this up to turn that pump on higher. Same with your mixer. I can crank that rake up to spin real fast in my system, or throttle it down to go slower. This is going to be your temperature controller. So all of our cold brew coffee houses are glycol jacketed. So if you want to brew cold, it's got both a side and bottom jacket. And how you turn those on are simply down here. This is your side jacket on or off, and this is your bottom jacket on or off. And these two lights will light up indicating when those are on. And then up here is where that temperature is digitally displayed, so you can see what temperature your product is inside the vessel. And then these are to turn your pump on and off, and your mixer on and off, and then you'll adjust them up here on these screens. And then lastly, you've got your mash light. You can simply turn that on or off to light up the inside of your vessel and see what's going on inside your cold brew coffee house. So once you've introduced coffee and you're done with the brewing process, you've went through the process, and now your coffee's in your holding tanks, you're going to want to get the coffee out of your vessel. So what you'll do is you'll simply open up the door on front here, and up on the control panel you will turn on your rakes that we talked about, and on those rakes is also a plow, and that plow will spin around on your rakes, and what it will do is it will automatically discharge all your spent grounds out the front here. You can put a trash can or some sort of a bin below here to collect all your spent grounds, but that will get 98% of the coffee out of your system, and no manual labor involved there. So our coffee houses have a dual filtration system, and the first filter is our false bottom, which is a 400 micron lasered false bottom. This has been freshly cleaned, so you can see some water there, but that's the first line of defense, and that's at 400 micron. And then what coffee makes it through that false bottom will get caught in our secondary filter. So our second line of defense is this filter that is a standalone filter. So what makes it through our 400 micron false bottom on our coffee house will flow from the coffee house, and it will come up this hose down through the inlet and filter down through here, and then come out through the drain and into your holding tanks. So let's open this up and see what the inside of this filter looks like. I'm going to unscrew the top here. Now, typically these would all be screwed, so I would have to unscrew all those, but we'll open it up here, and you can see inside this filter there's a nylon micron mesh basket. Now this happens to be 25 micron. We can go as low as 25 micron, or we can get higher if you don't want to filter down to 25 micron. But this basket's simply being held by an internal basket in the filter. And what you'll simply do is you can swap bags out and cover your internal basket with your nylon bag, and then you simply insert the filter back in, close the lid, and you're ready to go. So a couple of things just to note on the secondary filter is you'll notice I've got this connected with brewer's hose from the drain on the coffee house to the filter. We make this a standalone filter for a reason. Our current brewers that have our beer brew houses can simply buy this and use it as a hop back or a filter. And it's nice that it's standalone, so you can kind of plug and play if you're a brewer. So the second thing of note is that American Beer Equipment as a company, we're a custom shop. So anything as far as plumbing or controls that maybe you didn't like, you just let us know what you want, and chances are we can get that done. For instance, this customer has the framing up there for a second control panel and a cutout in the platform for a second vessel. So in the future they plan on sliding another 50-barrel cold brew coffee vessel onto this platform, and they'll have dual 50-barrel coffee houses running. So just let us know what you want. Chances are we can get it done. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any other questions, contact us at AmericanBeerEquipment.com.